Hi guys, Erica Suter here, and welcome back to my channel on female athlete performance training. If you have not yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button below so that you can get updates on anytime I post a new video. So today's video is a continuation of a topic I have talked about on previous videos, as well as my podcast on the Soccer Queens podcast. But when to hire a trainer? When should you put your female athlete into a more serious and organized performance training environment? So, short answer is middle school. So, I usually recommend sixth grade because that is when athletes are emotionally ready to start training, but they are also physically more mature and they can start to really understand the movement patterns and sprint mechanics as well as deceleration technique. And this is the time when that motor skill learning is going to stick the most. Now, if the athlete is not ready in sixth grade and they see this training as a huge obligation and a chore, it's okay to wait until they are ready in seventh or eighth grade. I never say they will fall behind if they don't start in sixth grade because that is a lie. So, any performance coach who is saying that they need to do this training now and it's non negotiable, that's a lie. And you should be hearing from the performance coach, hey, while I recommend they start in sixth grade, if they're not emotionally ready to do the training, that's okay too. Call me in a few years. And I've done that many times with middle school clients. I always screen potential clients who are in sixth grade. And I always ask the kid, do you want to do this? Or is your parent driving it? And I get really clear on if they're ready. Otherwise, the training's not going to be fun for them and they're not ready to get into that organized setting quite yet. So they won't fall behind if they start performance training in seventh or eighth grade because that middle school time frame, sixth to eighth grade, is when athletes can really take advantage of motor skill learning. They can really learn coordination and it can stick. They can learn rhythm and how to control their bodies and their momentum. It is such a great age for them to start getting into really good physical habits, but also mental habits and really learning what it takes to do more formal training. But again, if they're not ready for this till eighth grade, that's fine too. They're not going to fall behind. I will say if they do start in ninth, 10th grade, and at that point they had not done any type of performance training, no speed training or strength training up to that point, we are going to be playing catch up if they start this type of training in high school because during those critical years of brain growth and physical growth in middle school, they did not have the opportunity to take advantage of learning basic motor skills and basic movement patterns. And more often than not, we're trying to unlearn some bad habits during that time. I've gotten a lot of early specializing girls who are now in high school and they're the least coordinated girls I have and we're the least balanced. They're the slowest as well. They're performing the worst on our speed test, which is really interesting, but I'm not surprised because all through elementary school, all through middle school, they were doing the same movements over and over again. They were playing small sided games at practice. They weren't exposed to max velocity sprinting. They weren't exposed to a variety of movement to really develop their coordination. So I would say high school is very late to get started on this stuff. Can you catch up? Yes, but it's going to be a process. And I just want to be transparent with you guys that it is going to be a process of unlearning some bad habits in the younger years, especially if you're a high school girl early specialized and did nothing else all those other years. Now, what about the young ones? So the elementary schoolers, should you hire a trainer? So I recommend first and foremost, if you can play with them in the backyard, get them in the neighborhood, enroll them in various activities or recreational sports. It doesn't have to be travel, just for fun, just keep it light. That's the first thing I would recommend before hiring a performance coach. But if the girl is driving the training again, and she wants to work on speed and strength, that's fine. And I'm all for it. But make sure if you are hiring a performance coach for your elementary schooler, the sessions are number one, fun, and they're game free play oriented. So in our elementary sessions, we do a lot of task oriented games. So, as an example, instead of timing sprints like I would my older female athletes, we're doing sprints that involve a chase or going after a certain object or responding to the coach or tracking a certain object and just making it really fun where they have to complete a certain task and really let their creativity and problem solving skills shine through within that speed drill. So make sure if you have elementary school female athletes, they are seeing a performance coach where it's all fun games that are working on all the basic motor skills. So skipping, sprinting, balancing, throwing. Even if you're a soccer athlete, throwing is so important. The hand-eye coordination, they need variety at that level so that they develop as total athletes. So those are my recommendations for performance training and when to hire a trainer. It's going to really depend on emotional, but also physical factors. So I hope this helps. I'm going to link a few articles below on the early specialization debate, as well as a few neuroscience articles on why free play is so good for the brain, especially during elementary and middle school. So definitely check those out. And if you guys have not checked out the Strong Female Athlete book, I have a lot of references in there to medical doctors and pediatricians on why movement is so beneficial for young athletes and why they need to start doing performance training. So thank you guys and see you next time.